The scene is set at the Gentlemen's Club, where on this night, Mortimer Fitzgerald walks in to meet with Cloe Brothers to discuss matters of great interest to him. As he steps inside and looks around, please describe where Cloe is sitting right now. Hello? Did I lose you? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, there you are. Yeah, it was laggy again. Um, please describe where Chloe is sitting.
Chloe is sitting in one of the back tables at the Gentlemen's Club. There's nobody around. She has her own little table back there where the bartender knows where she goes. So when they know she's coming in, it's just like, okay, we're going to move the party a little bit away and let the young lady enjoy her drink.
Excellent. So
And she
Mortimer
would have
walks in.
given the description of you at the door, just so, because there is a bouncer.
Ooh, that would have
Uh,
not been good for Mortimer. He is quite the frail thing. So once he is allowed inside, he will spot Chloe in the back, give her a pleasant wave, and then begin heading over. Good evening, Miss Brothers. How is your night so far?
she's sitting there. I'm good. Have a seat.
Thank you. As he'll take his seat. As he pulls
How
out
have you
from
been
his
doing? How
jacket.
are your dreams doing?
Oh, oh, I am much better now. They do seem to go in phases.
Good to hear.
Hmm. As he pulls out a pen and paper. I must thank you again for agreeing to meet with me. I didn't really get much chance to talk to you at the Elysium. I hope I'll be able to clear a lot of this up. Now, let us get down to business. You
It's
are one
okay.
of...
We were entertaining the prince.
Indeed. So, down to business. You are one of the very fascinating Tinder that I've met in the city so far. But you are the only one that I've met that has had very
Is that so?
intimate knowledge about some other particular type of creatures that I have been studying for a while. Tell me,
You've
what
been studying
is
the
it that you
dogs?
tell me? Yes. Well, dogs, cats, all manner of strange things. You see, writing about only one supernatural creature can be very detrimental to a writer on multiple levels. On one, it becomes synonymous with you, like, look at... what would be a good example? Oh, you can pick any of the writers nowadays who focus on a particular genre of mythical creature. It locks them up. The rest of their work becomes harder and harder to sell. So,
Twilight.
hmm, I did not want to name names, but there you go. And again, I feel that it's just good to know about what else is out there. Because they are out there. We do have proof about that. But there's one thing that I have never known is that I have never met a kindred who actually
Yeah.
knew one of the names of their groups. What can you tell me about these glasswalkers that you
Well,
mentioned?
you kind of have to when you're intercepting information from them.
Hmm. Again, that must be an amazing stroke of luck. You must have earned renowned, untold for being able to bring such information to the Camarill's attention, or especially bringing honor to you and your sire as well.
Thanks.
More interesting.
So what questions do you have?
Well, this is what I do know about the lupines. I know that they are known primarily for their temper, and that they seem to have a hatred of anything to do with modern civilization. I would hesitate to
Yes.
call them eco-terrorists with claws, but that is the extent of
Uh,
what I know.
they fear the industrialization of the world um, because supposedly it creates corruption, although we find it as business. Uh, the group that I did were the only ones that actually delve into the technological world, which actually puts them at risk for more corruption into their systems, actually.
Interesting, as he is jotting this down on his piece of paper. I brought a few of my research as well, as he sort of shuffles around inside his coat pocket again and pulls out this very tacky binder that you'd probably get at like a Office Depot or another like store.
Wally
It doesn't
World.
have any, yeah, definitely. It doesn't have like any like it's laminated, but it doesn't have any like markers. But on the inside is just like several newspaper clippings, a few graffiti symbols that were taken by pictures on walls. Some of them are just complete garbage, but a couple of them here and there is a guru symbol that he has absolutely no idea about. As he says, this is some of the information that I have been able to pull up on it. Do you recognize any of these symbols or any of these articles relating to this clan?
Well, considering because glasswalkers are not really into the whole public defiling of a city, because they're more up in the glass spiral towers, the skyscrapers. What you're looking at right here, pointing to a clipping of a graffiti mark on probably a brick wall, I assume,
Hmm. Yeah,
probably in a grungy part of the city.
yeah. It's just sort of a
This
hodgepodge of stuff.
this symbol right here, actually, because there's only two primary plans that stick to U.S. cities. Not much of like the European tribes, but American tribes here. You got two city tribes that stay. You got the Glasswalkers, who are the ritzy, fitzy, technological, and then you have the Bonars, which are the homeless outcasts, the grungy, the garbage that got kicked out of the Guru Nation, pretty much.
That doesn't
So
make
pretty
much
much
sense.
this symbol, actually, that is for the Bonars.
Oh, as he just even more vigorously begins just writing down this information as you're telling it. I'm a little confused though. If both tribes live within the city and are part of the industrial complex, then why don't they all just live the high life? Like, who would choose to live in garbage?
It's because, again, I'm just going off the lore of what I've heard is that these Bonars are actually traitors. During some of the first wars against the corruption, um, the Bonars turned and ran. And so the Guru Nation cast them out, casted them to the lower tier of everybody, even lower than, the wild beasts of up north. Um, and so they have no reputation whatsoever. And they don't get help much except from the Glasswalkers, since those two are the only ones who inhabit the cities.
Interesting.
Because what I've learned also is that the Bonars are the eyes and ears of the streets.
Hmm. Sort of like how, and again, I would never compare these filth dwellers to the noble clan Nosferatu, but there is a minor comparison to how our cousins control eyes and ears all amongst the city, being able to see and hear things that very few would be able to dream possible. As he sort of looks around the room, probably since they're being listened to now.
Yeah.
I can understand that. It seems that these creatures have somewhat of a hierarchical system, then. I would have never thought that. I've A lot of the lore that I've uncovered hints that they probably have some sort of tribal system, but this seems far more sophisticated than what I would have anticipated.
It is still a tribal system. They have different tribes, but the tribes reside within hierarchy. And oh god, what are the two that are fighting over the throne? Silver
Yes, the
Fangs
werewolf
and
throne.
yeah, Silver Fangs and the oh god, oh Shadow Lords. They're like the Ukrainians and the Russians. They keep on fighting
There's
over the throne, of course.
a group of lupine called the Shadow Lords.
Yeah.
Oh, this is gold. This just writes itself as he just begins writing even more. I must thank you so much. I've learned more about these creatures within the last couple of minutes than months of digging through papers and talking to conspiracy theorists. Gosh, can you imagine some of the kind? Gosh, more crazy than any poor, ill-fated Malkavian.
Well, I
Thank you for
figured
your
if I'm gonna
insights.
be running in the streets where these two tribes could be running, I ought to know what else can be out there.
This is brilliant research you've done. I'm still amazed as he's just, again, just looking over. Could you tell me some of your encounters with these beings? Like, again, all these symbols can be great from an occultist standpoint, but nothing truly gets a point across like a good tale of a live
Well,
experience.
when you do come across a sign, one of their symbols on the walls, you get the fuck out
Hmm.
because that means one of them's not far behind, and literally they will rip you to shreds. I have had clan members from Boston get ripped to shreds, and me and my sire barely make it out of there alive. It's just like, no. You
Wow.
see
I
one of
never
them, you run.
I never knew the Bruja were dealing with the werewolves in Boston. I'm Bostonian myself, actually. I didn't actually get a chance to say that at the Elysium, but I would have never
Go
known that
Red
our city
Sox.
was plagued. Oh yeah.
Well, it's not really that much. I mean, you do have a sept hidden in there, but they don't really do much. Um,
Hmm.
it's
Well,
it's
thank
a very
goodness.
small set. It's a very small sept of the Bonars. They're glasswalkers again. They stay in their buildings.
Hmm.
They stay in their buildings. We we don't even really actually encounter like go into their skyscrapers. We intercepted the couriers, the human couriers, with their information when they make those late night runs.
Hmm. That makes me wonder. Do you think that we could have lupines like the glasswalkers even here in New Salem and not even know about it?
I haven't smelled any wet dog, and I know the smell fairly well.
Well, thank goodness. I would hate to think of having this wolves looming over you from atop tall buildings, ready to just pounce at any moment, whether it be closing down your favorite establishment or literally removing your face from your body.
Well, there was some strange information that I came up with some last night. I was talking with uh, Harpy Business with one of the other Harpies, Laird. I was talking with Laird, and I was
Yes, good
talking with
fellow. I'm
George.
familiar with him.
I was also talking with George Walker.
I've
I
yet to
don't know
meet
if
him.
you would probably like him.
I must get to meet him one time these nights.
Uh, he's actually been to the asylum. I don't know if you've heard any of the stuff going on with the asylum. Um, We're
I haven't
still
heard anything.
learning all the information about it. So as soon as us harpies know, you guys will most likely know. We'll send it down the line.
Was there some sort of event that happened there? I mean, what is
It's
this?
possible that there are Sabat uh, growing a cult in there.
His demeanor just sort of drains of all of the levity at the mention of the SWAT. As he just almost stares in disbelief as he says, "What? How on? What? There's Sabat in the city? Why haven't I heard about this before now?" He begins to calm down a
Easy.
little.
You're still
It's
in the company of not our kind. Relax. Have a drink. Again, we're still gathering information. As soon as we know, you guys will know. Because as soon as the prince know, everybody will know.
all
But
this was happening, and I had no idea.
it's still kind of going on. I don't know what is all going on. I haven't really been paying attention to it because I've had other things to deal with. Um, but apparently, from I didn't even really know much about the Sabbat myself until I started hearing some of the news about it. But I heard that some of the tattoos that they have are unicorns and Pegasus. George was telling me about this, and it got my brain thinking all of a sudden because I recognize those symbols. Those mythical creatures, not just for being mythical creatures, but also for being totems for Guru.
Totems for I'm confused. Werewolves have animal totems?
Yes,
Wouldn't, if they had any iconography, it be a wolf? Doesn't make any sense.
because there's a world much bigger than wolves, those werecats, hunters, mages. There's spirit world. I don't know the proper name of it, but there's a spirit
As he
world to
begins
it,
writing
and
again.
there are guardians for it, and they're the unicorn, the Pegasus, there is a Fenris, there is a wolf. Um, there's all sorts of guardians and different beings that protects the spirit world, and each
This
tribe
sounds
is
very
connected to at
much
least
like
one of them.
animism. Oh, sorry, I did not mean to interrupt. I was just sort
You're
of thinking
fine,
aloud.
but there is a spirit guardian attached to every tribe. Those two, Pegasus and Unicorn, are actually bound. Unicorn is bound to what I remember is Child of Gaia, which are actually pansies, peacekeepers. Smoke the peace pipe around the campfire.
Hippies?
Making some jiffy pop around the campfire,
Hippie werewolves. Who'd have thought?
right? Um, my main concern is the Black Furies, which are under Pegasus, because there's this problem with um, a guy named Apollo of Corinth, and he's part of this big old Brotherhood of Zeus or something like it. I have no freaking clue. I'm still getting all the news about it,
Hmm.
so
I've heard
until you
that
go
name.
official with everything, wait until I learn everything. We tell the prince, and then he announces. Honestly, it'll be a lot easier.
Oh, believe me, I would not go about spreading a panic. That wouldn't do any good but those who would thrive from chaos. I'm
And
just.
honestly, it was just my brain roaming around with these ideas. I wouldn't even really worry about it. But since it's Apollo of Corinth, Greek name, Greek Pegasus, Greek mythical creature, Black Furies originated in Greece, and they were suspected of being approached by the goddess Artemis, the hunter, the
Oh, I'm very
huntress.
familiar with this tale. Yes, Artemis, the goddess of the hunt.
Yes,
The Wasn't she the sister to the Roman or the Greek god Apollo, who was the god of the sun?
There you go.
Yes, I did some
See
looking into
where
the
I was
Georgie.
finding the similarities between those two? I accidentally scared poor Georgie. Oh my god, he nearly had a conniption fit.
Hmm. Well, this is something to be very serious about if the Sabbat are involved at all. But your instincts are doing you well, Miss Brothers. I would not count your theories out. There's always a reason why someone names themselves after anything. Names are symbols, and symbols hold power.
But
And
seriously, I would just let me hold on to that note, and as soon as I learn more, I'll give you more information.
my
Yeah.
lips are sealed. We will talk no more about that. I have more than enough to write an entire book about werewolves now. The Adventures of Sigmund, the hippie werewolf, as he fights against the evil lords of darkness as they vie for the throne of Wolfland. Oh, this is just brilliant. His friend can be the hobo.
I like it already. Save me a copy.
It'll be my pleasure, Miss Brothers. And thank you again. I have not met enough pleasant folk like yourself in the city yet, but I hope to amend that. I'm hopefully going to be seeing a lot more of this city very soon.
Any other
Hmm.
questions? Because I know
You
you
have.
were interested in my staking
Oh, I had
as
almost
well.
forgotten. Man. Hmm. I respect you, Miss Brothers. I would not wish to invade such a private affair unless you are willing to talk about it. So if you do not, that is fine. I understand. But that
My only question
must
is,
have
what
been
would
an
you want to know
amazing
about it?
story because it is a story about overcoming a life or death situation. We aren't staked for shits and giggles. That is one of our few weaknesses. Light, fire, the wooden stake to the heart. That is the vampire's bane to pull forth such a weapon against you. This person must have either been crazy or have had some sort of deep, deep hatred.
Uh, I like to think just crazy.
And it does not help that this person was a fellow Toreador. But I am sure that there must have been some sort of deeper reason, or he was just crazy. One of those two, as he sort of looks off. But enough about that. Suffice to say, I'm very glad that you survived the encounter. I was able to have this conversation with you now.
Well, I didn't get out of the situation on my own. I had help from the Tremere.
The Tremere? You know, I've never actually met a warlock of Clan Tremere. My sire was very insistent that I stay away from the warlocks for some reason.
Well, if anything, you can talk to the Harpy of the Tremere, James Schmidt. I have great trust in him because he was the one who retrieved me from my stakist.
Hmm, I think I might. I'm somewhat ashamed to say, I sort of have a bias against them because of what my sire had instructed me about them, but, well, this city is certainly different than what I was expecting. Perhaps I will give this James Smith a visit sometime. What exactly does he do besides being a fellow harpy?
Technology, security systems, uh, yeah.
Interesting. Do you know if he might know anything about bloggers or people who post information and create websites?
What was that?
Oh, do you think he might know anything about the kind who are bloggers or post information on websites and have forum chats scattered and hidden all amongst the web of information that is the internet?
I'm not sure, but it does not hurt to ask.
I
I
think
do
I
not
might.
know the limit of his abilities.
I still need to complete the assignment the prince has given me, and I might have benefit of somebody who is able to have an intimate familiarity with social media. For while I am a writer, this task may have proven to be a little more difficult than I thought.
Um, if anything, I don't know any kind who could do so. Have you ever thought of just doing it yourself? Going under
Well,
a mortal name?
it's not exactly that. I have no doubt I'd be able to act my way through being one of the kind. I have a special gift for that. Well, to an extent. The longer I am around the kind, the more uneasy they become. I don't quite sure what it is. They just they just don't like to be around me for too long.
Well, I mean, if you're just blogging.
That is true. I will not need to worry about that in that instance. But I'm not the most tech savvy myself. Again, it's I spent so much time writing that I sort of missed out
Homebody.
on yes, I missed out on chances to evolve with the times as much as I would have liked.
Then in that case, James Schmidt would definitely be your best choice. You could try George Walker, but I always advise James Schmidt.
Hmm. In that case, I think I'll talk to them both. If nothing else, it'll be great to meet more people in the city. Well, thank you again, Miss Brothers. I do believe I
You're
should
welcome.
be on my way. I do not want to keep you any longer. I must thank you again. This was a wonderful chat. And if you ever want to talk again or swap notes, feel free. I may not be the best when it comes to technology, but I have studied very deeply into mythology, history, and other matters of the occult. If you ever need
If
me, please
anything,
call.
just email me any questions you have.
Oh, I also have a card if you'd like to ever give me a call. And he hands you his calling card. It just says Mortimer Fitzgerald, but there is the water stamp of what appears to be a spider on it.
All right.
Right. Have a wonderful
You
evening,
have a
gentlemen.
wonderful night. She'll remain seated, but she'll give you a firm handshake, and as you walk away, she'll kick her feet back up and continue having her drink.
Excellent. And Mortimer will step out of the gentleman's club and back into the night. And scene.